Ivanka Trump tried and failed to avoid a court date. It could lead to big problems for her dad just days ahead of her dreaded visit to a New York court dock. Ivanka Trump was celebrating her 42nd birthday at her sparkling Miami mansion. Glamorous family photos posted to her Instagram profile feature her husband, 3 children, 97-year-old grandmother and their snow-white pet dog, Winter. "Here's to another year of great memories with my favorite people." The caption reads. But absent from the pictures are her father, who also lives in Florida, and her siblings. In fact, in an Instagram feed dominated by family photos, the former president and his sons have barely appeared in 3 years. Since losing her role as advisor to the president when her father lost that office, Ivanka has publicly put some distance between herself and the Trump men. Unlike her adult brothers, she didn't rejoin the Trump family business and has seemingly tried to regain some semblance of her life before politics. Previously, she enjoyed status as a New York socialite. But as her father's political star rose, her social standing among progressive New York plummeted. While he held office, it didn't really matter. Who cares if you've lost your invitation to the Met Gala when you can lecture world leaders at the G20? But when her dad left the White House, Ivanka needed a reset. Time equals 400 Ms. greater than she made clear she wasn't interested in participating in his 2024 campaign, nor would she take up a position in his next administration if he won. Instead, she was choosing to prioritize my young children and the private life we are creating as a family. While many coastal elites are still keeping their distance, Ivanka seems to have made some inroads. She even made the select guest list for Kim Kardashian's recent 43rd birthday party. Vanity Fair called it Ivanka's very public phase of re-entry into polite society. While the New York Times noted, something happened to Ivanka Trump that hasn't occurred since before her father was elected president. Celebrities were willing to be seen with her. She's about to be dragged into the spotlight again, but this time the attention will be less welcome. She's been called by the prosecution to appear in the New York court where her father, 2 brothers and their family company are on trial. Time equals 400 Ms. greater than for weeks. A court has been hearing evidence of fraud committed by Donald Trump and his sons Don Jr. and Eric. Judge Arthur Engoron has already found the business they ran deceived banks, insurers and others by massively overvaluing assets and wealth when making deals and securing loans. The trial now is largely about determining damages. Ivanka applied, and failed, to avoid appearing. The Trump camp also fought to prevent her being forced to testify. In an ultimately unsuccessful bid to have her subpoena quashed, Trump family lawyers accused Democrat New York Attorney General Letitia James of wanting to needlessly haul Ms. Trump into a highly publicized trial for the obvious purpose of harassment of both Ms. Trump and her father, Glenn Kirshner, a legal commentator who worked as a federal prosecutor for 30 years, says her efforts to avoid appearing could be a red flag for the family. Time equals 400 Ms. greater than. I do think she represents the kind of danger to other Trump family members that perhaps the sons do not represent, he told the ABC. Despite being seen as the golden child, Don Jr. once put to his dad in an interview, "Which is your favorite Trump child and why is it Ivanka?" She has at times shown a willingness not to toe the line. Last year, she agreed to be interviewed by the congressional committee investigating the January 6 Capitol riots, giving testimony for 8 hours. She clearly, at least in the clips we saw, was unwilling to parrot or to mimic her father's lies. Mr. Kirshner says, in one of those clips, Ivanka said she accepted former Attorney General Bill Barr's conclusion that the 2020 election result wasn't affected by fraud. What does that tell us? It tells us that she is not afraid to push back against her father, Mr. Kirshner says. Might we see her sort of take a similar tack in this civil trial? Another Donald Trump critic, his estranged and outspoken niece Mary Trump, is confident she will, saying, "She's just going to tell the truth and throw him under the bus." Time equals 400 Ms. greater than. There's a huge amount at stake for the Trump family. The Attorney General not only wants them fined hundreds of millions of dollars, she also wants the elder Trump and his 2 adult sons to be permanently banned from running businesses in New York. It could see them stripped of control of their real estate empire and marquee Properties like Trump Tower. There's been plenty of courtroom drama so far. The judge, a Democrat, imposed a gag order on Donald Trump last month, after he shared on social media a photo of the court clerk posing with Democrat Senator Chuck Schumer, falsely labeling her his girlfriend. The judge has since fined Trump $15,000 $23,000, for twice violating that gag order. On Friday, he expanded the order to cover Trump's lawyers, after they repeatedly complained about the clerk passing notes to the judge during the trial. He wrote, "The right of defendants and their attorneys to comment on my staff is far and away outweighed by the need to protect them from threats and physical harm." Donald Trump made a point of sitting through the first few days of the case, holding multiple impromptu press conferences outside each day to criticize the court, the state and the case. Time equals 400 ms. Greater than he's due back on Monday when he's scheduled to give evidence. Eric Trump told reporters at court his father was very fired up to be here. Ivanka was originally named as a defendant alongside her father and brothers. But in June, an appeals court threw out the claims against her, finding they were too old. She left the Trump Organization in 2017. During her years with the company, Ivanka was involved in negotiating and securing financing for various properties, according to court filings. Those properties include a hotel in Washington, a golf resort near Miami, and a skyscraper in Chicago. Time equals 400 ms. Greater than the original court summons suggests she knows a lot. She directed all areas of the company's real estate and hotel management platforms. This included active participation in all aspects of projects, including deal evaluation, pre-development planning, financing, design, construction, sales and marketing, as well as involvement in all decisions relating to those activities, large and small. She'll be the third of the Trump children to appear before this court. Don Jr. and Eric, executive vice presidents of the Trump Organization, have both argued they were not aware of the financial statements that were used to secure loans and insurance, and they relied on others to make sure they were accurate. Outside court on Friday, Eric echoed his father's previous complaints the trial was a political witch hunt. "They've dragged Don and I and Ivanka into it as collateral damage," he said. "They only want our names in this thing because it sensationalizes the Attorney General's case. We've done absolutely nothing wrong. We have a better company than they could have ever imagined. And this is a big charade. It's a huge waste of taxpayer money. And it's the very reason everybody's moving out of New York State." Ivanka is scheduled to appear on Wednesday. She could choose to plead the fifth and not answer questions, but that could backfire. In a civil case, unlike a criminal trial, a judge can use a refusal to answer questions to infer a witness has something to hide. Glenn Kirshner suspects Ivanka may be feeling the pressure from her father in the lead up to her appearance. "We know Donald Trump exerts pressure. It's what he does," he says. The dynamic couldn't be more interesting in that courtroom.